The biggest mistake I made in my business was not hiring a professional to help me with my money. Not just my taxes, but the actual plan I had for my business. I was completely lost on how to handle taxes, what to do with profit, and how to maintain my income. I had to find a better way. That's when I found Core Financial. Core Financial is a team of tax professionals that actually care about building real relationships with their clients. They run my books, keep me up to date with my finances, and make sure I'm taking full advantage of all of my tax benefits. Are you struggling with your finances? Look no further. Core Financial is a brand that is nationwide that can help you with your business. Both Nick and I are huge fans of Core, and they can help you too. Check out howtofilmweddings.com/core to schedule a consultation today. Core Financial, real relationships, no surprises. It seems like there are new cameras and equipment coming out all the time. It gets incredibly confusing and the FOMO is real. Nick and I have been preaching for years that the best way to try out new gear is to rent before you buy. And there is only one place we recommend when it comes to renting, and that is our friends over at Lens Rentals. Lens Rentals is the premier source for renting not only camera equipment, but lenses, drones, projectors, and more. Have a big project coming up and you need to really wow your couple? Wanting to test out the newest camera before you drop thousands on it? You need Lens Rentals. My favorite thing is that if I love something I rent, I can keep it. They apply a portion of the rental fee to the purchase price, and with a few simple clicks, that gear is mine. Check out the latest promo codes and promotions at howtofilmweddings.com/Lens Rentals. Lens Rentals, the only place we recommend renting. Hello and welcome to How to Film Weddings. My name is John and it is a brand new week. We are so pumped about this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. Nick is not with me today. He was actually feeling under the weather, but I had an incredible interview with a guy named Jai Long. You might have heard of him. He's kind of a big deal. He is a wedding photographer based in Australia. He is killing it. He just hosted a wedding photographer summit. Gary Vaynerchuk was there, a bunch of big names. He's doing incredible things. And so I sat down with Jai to talk to him just about his mindset, how he is relentless, his story, everything that he has done to get to this point, to earning over $1 million and becoming a millionaire and everywhere in between. This guy is on Rangefinder's 30 Rising Stars. He was featured in Forbes magazine and he is killing it. So if you don't know him, be sure to check him out, and let's jump into this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. All right, well, Jai Long is here. How to Film Weddings community. We're super pumped to have him on. Jai, why don't you say hello, introduce yourself. Who the heck are you? And just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, John, man. Thanks for having me here. I'm pretty excited about today. I've been looking forward to it for a little while now. My name is Jai Long. I'm a wedding photographer. I'm a business coach for wedding photographers and videographers. And I do a bunch of other things as well. I've got a label with a few friends called No Skin. I do a bit of property development. I do a whole bunch of things, but I'm based here in Australia. And I've also got a wedding photography summit, John, which you just said that you actually attended this year, which is really cool. I do so many things. Whenever I get on something like this, I get a bit of stage fright because I don't actually remember past the last couple of days of what I've done. So that's how it feels. Yeah.
Yeah, I found you, I think on maybe Clubhouse, or I can't remember where I found you. It's been a minute, but we've released courses. No, I think I saw you in the Kajabi Heroes group, I think is the first place I saw you. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, you're talking about, breaking some milestones and different things like that. And it was just like, I like this person. I like what he stands for. Everything I've seen from afar, literally around the globe, I've been very impressed, and I just wanted our community to know who you were if they didn't already. And I really it's been quite a year and a half with everything going on in the world, and I just think that so many people have limiting beliefs and just they put their life on pause over the last year and a half, and it seems like you have not done that. And so I just love to
the opposite.
Yeah. Every time I talk to you, it's like, or see of you, you're doing something else, and it's, the biggest summit in the world and all these different things. And I guess before getting to that, How did you get to where you are today? Like, what's your story when it comes to like how you grew up? What shaped you and framed you?
Man, I think a lot of my story comes down to like overcoming a lot of adversity, right? I grew up, I was definitely the poor kid. I grew up in the poorest area of our state and on the most dangerous street of our state, where I was patrolled by the police twice a day. There was a lot of domestic violence. We had a lot of like drug houses all around us, all that kind of stuff. And it was just the environment that I grew up in. We were homeless a couple of times when we were younger as well, and we used to be, standing in line to get handouts for Christmas, all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of things in my life, there's a lot of domestic violence and things like that that kind of shaped me of who I am now with my drive of how much I can sort of overcome things, because I always feel like I've been through worse, So I left school, I dropped out of school when I was about 15, 16. I left home and everything because I kind of had to help my family. My mum's got five kids, and I was the oldest, so I wanted to help mum provide for the family. So I went and got a job. And yeah, from there, I remember when I was about 20 years old, I started my first business, and that was a cafe. And it was back then, man, the most ambitious thing that anyone that I knew had ever taken on. It could sit 300 people. I had all this staff. I sold my car. I made the dream work to make it happen. And it was a huge, huge thing. My dad actually, I was giving him a job, and that was one of the reasons why. And he actually passed away from a drug overdose like a week before I actually opened the cafe. So I made it a little bit hard, and it took me about 12 months to go completely bankrupt. So when I was 21, I was bankrupt, and then I had to reinvent myself, restart again, and I opened an electrical business, and I scaled that up as far as I could. And then after that, I decided I want to be a wedding photographer. So I bought a camera, and I decided to quit my job and do the same thing. Sold my car, started cruising around, shooting weddings and scaling up that business. And then after a couple of years, I was like, I probably could educate people in business because I've been doing it for so long. And then the rest is history. I've kind of just been growing and building and being relentless, I think. There's been so many hard things that I've had to overcome, and it's made me so much stronger, and it's made me appreciate what I have, but also just so much knowledge, when it comes to this kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
that's incredible. I mean, yeah, you learn a lot, you can learn a lot from, people's mistakes, of course, or, the hardships that you had when you were younger. So you drop out of school to go work for your family. That's an incredible thing. The oldest of 5, you go get a job, and then what was it always in you? Like you wanted to run businesses, or like what was that spark that said, I'm going to start a cafe. I'm going to start a thing. Like what made you do that?
So there was a few things that made me fall in love with business and to realize that it was the thing for me, right? One thing was when I was younger, I used to feel like it was only there was like poor people, there was rich people, and I didn't understand how some people were financially well off and some people just had nothing and lived day to day and they struggle. And I could not work out what that was until a little bit later. But the main thing was my dad was actually in rehab when I was about 19 years old. And I wanted to get him a job because I heard if I got him a job and out into the world, it'd give him some responsibility. And then that would, it would probably change his life, right? Mm-hmm. So I got onto this path of where I tried to find him a job, and it was really hard because he was unemployable. Like he was like losing his teeth. He was in rehab at the time, and I was cold calling people everywhere. I was walking around town to all the businesses. I went around to all the tradesmen, all the job sites, all the warehouses, all the factories, and I was just trying to get him a job. And I realized, man, he's unemployable, but also who makes up the rules? Like why is it up to someone else to give him a job, and it's up to them to say that someone's unemployable? So I realized the people that make the rules, like I need to be one of those people, and all they were was just business owners. So that was what sparked me to start a cafe, because I was like, I want to be the person that makes the rules, and I can choose who I can give opportunities to, and if I can give opportunities. And from there, it's like I fell in love with business because it's changed my life, but it's also changed all the people around me, man, because it gives so much freedom. It gives so much choice to people. It gives so many opportunities. It like allows me to sit here right now talking to you on a podcast, or to shoot a wedding on the weekend, or to coach someone, or to make some jeans, or to do anything that I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want, however I want, you know. And I just think that to me is incredible.
I love that. I love it. Yeah. Like I always love to know how people got into their business or what they're doing. You know, like what we do is so much deeper than who we are. Like we're so much deeper than what we do. And I love to hear kind of how people got to where they were, and your story is incredible. And, you know, it's like you can stand on that as something that you've been through, that you've worked through, and you can do incredible things on that platform almost. And so you had your businesses, you went bankrupt at 21, you started another, you know, doing electrical work, and then you were like, oh, photography. When was photography introduced to your world, and what did it look like getting it going?
Man, it's actually a pretty funny story, but so after I went bankrupt, I needed to get my money back fast, and I needed to pay back banks, and I needed to do all that kind of stuff. So I actually went and worked in a coal mine. And so as an electrician, so I went and worked in the coal mine. I was getting my money back as fast as I could, because in Australia you can fly out to the desert, you can work in the mines, and you get paid really good money. So I was on probably like, you know, $6,000-7,000 a week, like doing that, you know, to try and make my money back. And that's just like an opportunity that we have here. It's hard work. Like no one really wants to work in a coal mine. But what I did when I had that money is I actually bought a camera, because, you know, just as a hobby of a friend. And then after work, with the 1 or 2 hours that I would have, I would just walk down to the beach and I'd take photos of anything and everything. Just, you know, just taking photos. I had a fisheye lens, and I'd just take photos of anything. And then when I finally finished that job, paid off all the banks and everything, and I came back to where I live now, I started my electrical business, but I was thinking like I should probably pursue shooting photography. And so what happened was, I actually, back in those days, there was a lot of, like, this is before Instagram, so this is when blogging was a big thing. So I had a WordPress blog, and one of my photos went viral, and overnight it was on the homepage of WordPress, and then it was a link to my blog. And so I think I had 1,000 emails within an hour, and I thought it was spam. But then it was actually people saying like, I want to buy the photo of you, and this is a horrible photo. This was just some photo of just some bamboo, like people would use it as a wallpaper, you know. But people asked me if I could shoot their wedding. And so I was like, yeah, I can come and shoot your wedding. Like, that sounds fun. And I didn't charge them anything. I just went over, you know, I met with some people to shoot their wedding, and I kind of fell in love with it. I thought, like, this is really fun because, one, I was naive. I didn't know there was amazing wedding photographers out there. I thought there was none, basically. And two, like, I didn't really know how to use my camera or anything. I just felt like I was very creative, and I had creative control. So I shot like 1 or 2 weddings, and then I came home one day and I told my wife that I'm going to quit my job and I'm just going to go full-time photographer. And she was like, do you even know how to use a camera? I was like, it doesn't matter. You know, do you have any work? I'm like, it doesn't matter. You know, these are all limiting beliefs. Like, if I decide something, I'll make it happen, you know, regardless of anything else.
Mm-hmm. And so that's really cool. So what year was this? Because before I mean, you're talking early 2000s. Is this what we're talking about?
Well, you know, Instagram was only around in like 2012, right?
Yeah. So it was like
and it was like mainstream in 2013. Like that's sort of when, you know, Facebook bought it and stuff. But so 2013 is when I started my business, and I started Instagram as well. So it was like January 2013. Got on to Instagram. Just decided, I was like, this is what I'm going to do with the rest of my life, and I hustled my way basically.
So you start this business 8-9 years ago, and it goes well. So maybe tell us from the start of that, like it starts going well. What did you do to grow to get it to a point, and how big did it get? What was the story there?
Man, it got big in the first 12 months. Like it was a 6-figure business in the first 12 months, and I ran my first workshop was like the year after. What happened was I sold my car, and we were going out of the wedding season in Australia, and I didn't think about that. So it was something I was like, okay, we're not in wedding season now, and I lost my job, got no car, we got rent, I had 2 mortgages, like everything was happening. And then I was like, what can I do right now to get work when no one's getting married where I am? So I realized I need to go and shoot in the Northern Hemisphere because it was summertime going into Northern Hemisphere. So I just put it out there to everyone that I want to go to the US and shoot weddings for 3 months and shoot as many weddings as I can for free. So I contacted wedding planners, stylers, wedding photographers, videographers, venues, magazines, blogs, like basically anyone and everyone over there. And this is before DMs on Instagram, so you had to sort of like find their email and work out, it was like a hard way. And I managed, I sold my car so I could get a ticket for me and my now wife, and we flew to the US, and we used that money to shoot as many weddings as we could, and I shot 8 or 9 weddings, and they were all over America, and it was really hard for us because we didn't have much money, so we had to sort of work on farms and stuff in between to have food, to get to the next wedding, to get to the next flight, to get to the next hotel, like whatever it was. But all those weddings, a lot of those weddings got featured in Junebug, in Hello May, in all these different places. So when I came back to Australia, all of a sudden I was a published international wedding photographer, and then people in Australia all noticed because we're a small country, like it's big landmass, but small people, not many people. So people thought I was in the industry for a long time. They're like, man, who is this guy? I haven't even heard of him, but he's got these portfolios, like, it's incredible. So as soon as I came back, the demand was going up. People wanted me to, they seen me in all the magazines and stuff like that, and they wanted me to shoot their wedding. So my prices started going up, and more and more people contacted me to shoot their wedding. And then, the rest is history. I just been on that same relentlessness. I still shoot weddings for free whenever I need to. I do whatever it takes, whenever it takes, whatever it is, man, for the success that I want that others don't have.
Yeah, that's super motivating. It could definitely be like a movie. Just like you could put your life story into a movie, because it sounds like it. It sounds like, a guy that has gone through a ton of heartache and different things and didn't let that stop him. I mean, if you were just looking at the statistics from you to 0 to age 20, you should be in a similar position that your father was in, and
totally.
And it's like you have completely changed your family tree. You've completely changed the legacy that you're going to leave on this earth. And so it's like, holy crap! Like when you start to really think about what it means that you've done, and you only have I lost my father in October, and he was 62, which is young to pass away, and it's
sorry, man.
Yeah, thanks. And it's like, but it kind of just makes you realize how short this life is. And you don't know the last day you're going to have. And if you get one July 1st, 2021, that's it. That's all you get. You get to do it once. And it's refreshing to hear from somebody that's like willing to push their chips in, all in. Like, I want to do this. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to sell my car and move to the States for 3 months and work on farms between going to, it's just like, what? Like, who does that? But what it did for you is it teed you up for a life that you're now getting to live and enjoy. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about, so you're shooting these weddings, just continuing the story a little bit. You're doing these weddings, you're getting noticed, you're raising your prices, and you start teaching some workshops and doing some different things, getting into education. When did you start doing that? And when did you realize that like you could teach people about business?
Man, it was, I think at that stage for me, business is so second nature because I think of it creatively. So when I came to the creative industry, I realized that everyone struggled with it. And it kind of blew my mind because I'm like, you guys are the most creative on the planet. And you're holding yourself back because you believe in a formula that doesn't exist, where you need to be like corporate, or you need to, love spreadsheets, and you need to love money, and you need to love all these things to love business. And I'm like, you're thinking about it the wrong way, man, because the people that win business are the most creative people. Creative with your marketing, creative with your work, creative with your client experience, creative with your offer, creative with whatever it is that you're putting out into the world, right? The more passion you have, the more that you're proud about what you create, the better that you are at sales, the better that you are at, just serving people, basically. And that's what business is. And so what I realized really fast is like, I have a gift with teaching people business because I do see it creatively, and I'm in the creative space. So I can explain it to people that don't understand business or feel like it's overwhelming. And because that sort of clicked on real quick, I put on a workshop, and I did it with a photographer called Ryan Muirhead. So he taught he taught the photography side and I taught the business side. And man, like the first workshop I did, it cost, like I was hustling and I didn't have much money, and it cost me about $5,000 after everything, you know? So we did like a camp and everything. And it cost me money. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people even look at me and they look at the wedding photography summit and go, oh, that dude's just killing it, right? But it's the relentlessness of how many times and how many years have I shown up in workshops, doing it for free, mentoring for free, doing whatever it takes, wherever I can, for whoever it can, out of my own pocket. Like the amount of, dude, like I've talked at, photo field trip at way up north. I've talked at, there's like a whole lot of, workshop in New York City and stuff. No one pays for my flights, man. Like I will make sure I go and get an extra job so I can get myself on a plane, to get myself to those opportunities, to happen to be in the right place at the right time all the time. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
And I think too many people think they're so special, right? That they're waiting for someone to email them an opportunity and then there's nothing that's ever going to happen. But for me, I'm like, fuck the email, man. Like I'm going to go there, to wherever you are, and I'm going to make sure that you know who I am and what I'm about and how can I help you. So it's just more of like a proactive way of just understanding, like you were saying before, like life is short. So if you're waiting for something to happen for you, like trust me, I've seen people wait, and all my friends, they still wait to this day. And for me, I'm not after passive anything, not after passive results, passive income. Like I'm after proactive, I'm ready to go and make this happen for my life now. And there's not one person on this earth that cares enough about me to make my dreams come true or make opportunities happen for me. Like it's something that I have to make for myself, and I have to have the responsibility and know that it's my fault. Whatever success I have, it's my fault. So I have to, take on that responsibility.
Man, I'm getting the goosebumps over here. That's some good stuff. Like so many people ask me, because as I've seen more success, Nick and I started How to Film Weddings in this podcast in 2018, and it didn't make us, like we didn't pay ourselves anything from it for like 15 months of doing it. And people are like, oh, you make all this passive income. And I'm like, I'll get mad when somebody tells me I make passive income, because
man.
It's my least favorite. It's like, I hate when people,
I know.
We make jokes about it a lot, because if someone brings it up, like, how do you make passive income? It's just like, it's a trigger for me, because every bit of everything that I have done since I've been younger has been pushing towards this uncomfortableness that I live in to get to a point to where I'm at now. And I love what you said about just nobody else is going to be caring about your dreams or making it happen for you. Your success is going to be your fault. And that's so true. And the people that I categorize people that I talk to these days into people that are doing and people that are talking about doing it someday. And you seem like a person that is doing. And
I would
love for you to, I would love for you to talk about, like, so you're talking about doing, like, what percentage would you say of what you do, especially at the beginning, was successful? Like, how many times did you fail compared to how many times did you win?
Dude, it has to be like a 90% fail rate. It has to be. Like the amount of people that say, like, I mean, dude, and I'm not talking like, back in the day. I'm talking like even today, even yesterday, even last year, of like launching another workshop, my mastermind. No one shows up, no one buys tickets. Launching something else, it's like, it cost me money. And it's like, people think that it's like, oh, I see like the iceberg, right? I see the little bit sticking out of the ocean, and like there's the success, that person's successful. Like, fuck him, I'm gonna take him down. People have like all these thoughts. And then underneath that, it's like the amount of times that I show up and put myself out there. I loved actually, someone shared one of my Instagram IGTVs the other day, and this is like an influencer in the wedding photography space, and they got lots of followers, and they shared it and they wrote a thing saying, look at this photographer, thinks he's a motivational speaker, all he's doing is embarrassing himself, and they were like trying to bring me down. It's funny because people say that stuff to me all the time, and it's, I'm like, it's interesting that you are concentrating on what I'm doing whilst I'm doing something and you're not doing anything. And I would rather regret not doing anything than regret looking like a fool in front of people. Does that make sense? And so for me, it's like, I'm not scared of failure, because most people are scared of failure because their self-importance is they care too much of what other people think. But man, I'll fail in front of anyone all the time because I don't care how uncomfortable it makes me, because I know where I want to be and my dreams are worth it.
Mm-hmm. And it's huge. And I think so many people get stuck in this, oh, whenever I get there, that's when I'll take more risks. Whenever I get money, that's whenever I'll be able to give more to charity. Whenever
Totally.
I have time, I'll be able to, do more stuff with my family or whatever it is. And they get it backwards. And it's like, Gary Vee talks about it a lot, just about like it being a net game. And it's like you might shoot 100 shots and lose money on 99 of them, but that 100th one might be the deal breaker that just sets you apart. But you got to be shooting those shots, and just one of those things clicking and working can pay for all the other mistakes. And so that's what I've seen in my business. And it's like when we started our podcast here, it's like the wedding video world can be just like the photography world, and we don't know everything.
How long has your podcast been going for?
Since 2018. So 100.
And when you first launched it, how many listeners did you have?
Not many, dozens.
And why did you keep going? Why did you keep talking to no one?
It was the drive. It was, we knew that we wanted to, I loved helping people with their business, just like you. And it was like, but I could also see it being something that if we kept going, so many people wrote us off at the beginning. Oh, these guys aren't going to do anything. And then, oh, wow, they've done 20 episodes. Oh, wow, they've done 50 episodes. Oh, wow, they got sponsored. Oh, wow, they've put out a course. Oh, they have a mastermind. Oh, these guys are legit. And it just because we got going and we had something to say that was worth saying, but then we stayed consistent. And so,
and you kept showing up regardless of the listeners.
And now this month is the biggest month, and last month was the biggest month before that, and it keeps growing. But there was all kinds of failures in the rearview mirror in my life. I've had failed businesses. I've had no money. I've had to lay people off. But that grit, that determination that comes from that. So anyway, wrapping that back around to the world of what you're doing.
Well, hey, can I ask you just a quick question?
Sure.
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I didn't. Sorry.
Did you watch what's one of your favorite TV shows?
I love Stranger Things. I'm trying to think.
Stranger Things is a hard one. Did you watch that from season 1?
Oh, The Office.
1, as soon as it came off?
I use this analogy too. The Office. I found it in season 3.
In season 3, right? Yeah. I mean, it's like so many. Like, imagine if The Office gave up in season 2 because no one was watching. And then season 3, it's like, man, they're starting to grow a bit of an audience. Season 4, season 5, and then after a while, it even finishes, and people are like, well, can't wait for them to bring it back. I wish they would bring it back, right? But too many of us, we think we're going to come out of the gate, we're going to be the last season of The Office, and we're going to have fame and all these people, but it's just not true. Like, you have to put in the legwork to build something that people are going to love.
Yeah, I love that. I've actually used that analogy of I became a fanatic of The Office after 35, 40 episodes of it, and I'm happy they didn't quit.
Exactly.
Because sometimes it just takes the audience a minute to catch up with all the things that you've been producing. And so there's a lot of filmmakers out there that listen to our show that, they might be in their second or third year of business and like, oh, I'm not where John's at, or I'm not where Jai's at. What would you tell them if they're just getting going, they're discouraged?
Man, if you would do it for free, then you're doing the right thing. And I always say that, like, if nothing else mattered and you would just show up, like, for instance, like my podcast, man, I do it for free. If I'm happy to do that all the time, whether or not, regardless of the listeners, I'm like, well, I know I'm doing the right thing. If I did wedding photography for free, which I did and I do, and I'm like, man, if I'm happy to do that, like right now, I'm actually, and it's funny, we were just having a joke, but in my clothing company, I'm working my butt off over here for free, right? And if I'm happy to do that, man, it's not about charging what you're worth, and it's not about trying to make money or anything. It's about building something that people love, so people will actually knock on your door and they'll pay you something. And I just think, just keep going with what actually makes you happy.
Hi, it's Michael from Wedditor. We want to thank everyone for the incredible support we've received since sponsoring How to Film Weddings. Yes, we've had some growing pains, but we've had far more wins. And we're doing something that's never been done. We're a remote team of over 50 editors in 10 countries. I often joke that we're as much a logistics company as we are a creative company. Right now, demand is off the charts. And we don't just say yes to everyone and scramble to figure it out. That's why we're asking you, to help us help more of you. In short, we're looking for more talented Wedditors. Part-time or full-time, work from where you want, when you want, as long as you hit deadlines and deliver quality. It's a chance to get paid while growing as an editor. Our project managers work with you, explaining why something feels right or doesn't, because there's always a reason. If you're interested, we'd love to hear from you. Go to wedditor.com/editor and fill out our form.
Finding the perfect song for your wedding film can be so frustrating. We spend countless hours searching for the perfect song. When it comes to licensing music, Nick and I both love MusicBed. Not only do they have the best music, but their website makes it so easy to find the perfect song and to find it fast. We have both been using the MusicBed's wedding subscription for years and cannot recommend it enough. Not only are they adding new music from incredible musicians like Chapters, The Light, The Heat, and Tony Anderson all the time, they've made it incredibly easy to search their library for mood, genre, instrumentation, and even key. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed and use promo code HTFW for a free month of a MusicBed wedding subscription. howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed. Yeah, I love that. Speaking of that, you get going, you start doing some workshops. You said you were like paying $5,000 out of pocket to host and work at a workshop.
Yeah.
But I know, I only see what I see, but this year, your summit, I mentioned Gary Vaynerchuk earlier. It's like you've gone from being homeless to having one of the best and biggest entrepreneurs in the world on your pod or on your at your summit.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit of the bridge between first workshop and the workshop this year. And was it as illustrious and beautiful as it all sounded, or was it worth it? Or what's the story there?
It's kind of an interesting one, right? There's so many factors at play. One is I didn't give up, so my relentlessness. Two is I'm always a little bit before my time with everything, and I realized this, and I have to always sort of scale back. So one thing that I taught a lot was mindset, and I was pushing this home. I was like, nothing matters. Your strategy doesn't matter until your mindset's right. And man, just a few years ago, people would call me a hippie and this is okay. But what's a strategy, right? And no one talked about mindset, so it wasn't a trendy thing. And then I realized, as more people started listening to me, especially some educators, some people started taking on and saying the same thing. And as more people started saying the same thing, I realized it started becoming more trendy. So I started trying to really push it and even to educators. So then they would think about it and they'd start teaching it. And then it became really trendy, which is probably this year. And even last year, and people are actually listening to me now, because I've been saying, if you can go back and watch any of my content from years ago, it's the same thing that I say, same message, right? Haven't changed. But it's funny because you said, audience has caught up to it. So I do think that's helped me a lot, sort of being in the right position for the change. The next thing is, man, I think, I do get disheartened a lot of the times because I do see educators come and they've been in business for 1 year and they're teaching and they're making hundreds of thousands and they're living a dream. And I'm like, man, I'm still going for it and I'm still going. But I know for me, I need to I know what pace I need to work in, and I know one foot in front of the other. And I've got to keep trying and testing new things. And that's what I've been doing these last couple of years. But last year was a game changer for me because at the start of the year, what happened was I decided I was going to be a millionaire. And I was like, I don't care anymore. This is just my decision, right? Then COVID hit. And then I was like, damn, for a couple of days, I was like, okay, well, that dream's out the window. And then I realized, man, COVID doesn't change my dreams. That doesn't, what kind of thinking is that? So I started, starting to think like a victim. And I just realized, I was like, COVID doesn't affect me at all. I'm not sick. So it's totally fine. So with that thought process, I decided I was going to go after that dream. And I hit that goal because I did whatever it took. And I got so uncomfortable. I invested what I needed to. I scaled up when everyone scaled down. I invested more in marketing when everybody closed shop. I hired more people when everybody was trying to save. I did those things because I realized my dream was worth more than being scared of a pandemic that's actually not affecting my business right where I was. And if I'm privileged enough to be able to say that, man, it's a shame if I don't use that privilege. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're definitely, hitting all the things for me, because I think most people let the news and let the media and let other people just determine their life for them, and they go through life and they kind of flow through whatever, channel is happening in the world, and they don't flow against what's happening. They don't think for themselves. They don't, and especially, I started my first business in 2005, and 3 or 4 years later, the real estate market in the U.S. dropped and it plummeted. And while that right in that moment was whenever I was starting my wedding video business in 2007, 8. And so I remember everybody else having to close down shop, and I was figuring out creative ways to film football games on the side, or dance recitals, or high school graduation, anything I could to just be making more money that year than the year before, and learning and making mistakes. And I opened up a shop that was like a wedding bridal show, like an expo, like a full-time 7-day-a-week thing that I had open for 5 years, and it failed after 5 years, and I lost a lot of money, and just kept going and being relentless, like you're saying, and learning along the way on all these mistakes. And then the opportunity of How to Film Weddings presents itself to me. This podcast and my business at that point, my video business, had really grown, but all of those mistakes that most people would be embarrassed about were the things that I was able to build the foundation. I knew how to send out contracts correctly because I had a shop where I had to do that, and I did it the wrong way, and it cost me $10,000 over here. And I learned how you can market on Facebook because I had to do this for these events over here. And all these things, that that's why I'm able to scale this business so quickly, is because I've been, since 2005, figuring things out. And I went to school for advertising, man. You started and marketing.
Then. You didn't start a year ago or 2 years ago.
Right. And that's where most people forget it. And it's don't do that. You've got to get going, and you got to get pushing. So I love your story. I love how I'd love for you to kind of tell me about some of the offerings that you have now. I know you have some courses, some things like that. Where did those factor into this? When did you start releasing those, and what did that do for you?
First course was in 2019. I just realized I had this thing where I thought in 2020 we're going to hit a recession, and I realized I did this post actually, and I shared it inside my course, and I put a post out to my friends. I said, in 2020 I think we're going to be hit with some sort of recession or something, because it's around about that cycle. So I understand business cycles. And I was I need to build a course on business, because if something happens right now, because we're in a bubble as videographers and photographers, people making money right now without even knowing business, which is a scary place to be, because as soon as something happens, everyone loses their business. So I realized I needed to build something to help people through that time. And so that's why I started building the business map, literally for that reason. And then COVID hit. And again, it was just I was in the right place at the right time kind of thing, because I was already doing the work, but then that hit, and I stopped for a little bit. Then I was we need to fast track this thing, because people are going to be absolutely losing everything right now if they don't know business, right? So we got in, and we just, we hustled our way. We recorded just crazy times, filming and recording, during a pandemic and stuff. And then releasing something and trying to sell to photographers that have lost their business and they don't have money. And, we had to help a lot of people out and let people in for free and do free mentoring and just help people, right? And I think it was just for me, I thrive in any kind of problem. I love problems. Most people try and avoid problems, but I'm trying to seek problems, because a bigger a problem is, the more reward there is, especially if it helps more people. And I knew that was going to be a huge problem for people, and it has been. And now that we're coming out of the pandemic, I think a lot of people and I noticed this, all the educators stopped everything when everyone actually needed help. And I was scaling up and helping everyone wherever I could, even if I didn't get paid. And I think people seen that last year. So this year people are starting to show up for me. And I think, what goes around comes around. And I think it's an incredible community to be part of when people actually recognize that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. And you said something, is you're in the right place at the right time. And it's funny because I know that like, you know, a lot of people will be like, well, that was lucky. And it's like, well, hold on. Whenever someone tells me it's lucky, it's like when someone says that, it's like, wow, your camera takes good photos. It's like, no, I learned how to use that thing. And so like by doing and rewinding back to your childhood, all of these decisions, they add up and they stack up. And yes, you might fall down when you're going up the mountain a couple times, but you've gotten back up and just keep going, and you take a step a day.
Man, can I quickly share even a story of like last year? Well, so last year, we got the business map, and we made a little bit of money from it. And then I was like, I hired a few people so we can like start scaling this thing up. And the business wasn't going well. I wasn't shooting weddings or anything. And then I just decided, I was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to create a workshop. I'm going to pump in about 100,000 into ads because that's all of our money that we have. And I'm going to get the educators that are really not doing too much right now and bring them to an audience. And I'm going to sell tickets for $7. And we're going to help everyone on the planet that needs it right now. And man, this was like the dumbest idea, but the most ambitious idea. And the risk for me was insane because I'm literally putting everything that I just made on the line for it. So I invested all the money that I just made straight back into this thing, and everyone hated it for so many reasons. Like obviously not the people paying $7, but educators hated it because it's like, well, fuck you, man. You're selling education for $7 now. So you get a lot of that. People said it's impossible. Like, how is this even going to work? I had to have a talk to my team that if this doesn't work, we won't have money in the business. We're going to have to work something out to keep everyone employed. And I don't know if people see the behind the scenes of that kind of stuff, and how much we had to show up to even learn how to do that. Like I was doing online courses. I paid for a coach. I was like learning everything, reading books every single morning, testing stuff relentlessly, like every single little tiny thing to set myself up for success. And then when that workshop hit, it was just like, boom, it was a success, but I couldn't even like enjoy it because I was so deep in working and trying to make this thing happen. You know what I mean? It wasn't until a couple of days after I was like, man, what just happened? So yeah, it's funny because like you can think, oh, that person's got it all figured out, and it's, you know, money makes money, and it's really not the truth at all.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so like just hearing, you know, like that you're still, even as you progress in life, you're still like going after the things that no one else is going after. And the only way you can get to that position is if you kind of pass the test of the last thing that you did, you know. And as you get to higher altitudes, there's less and less people around that are doing what you're doing until you're like, whoa, where is everybody? And the reward of that, you know, is like, you are able to be as successful as you are, and to be able to pay yourself ungodly amounts of, you know, revenue. And people are like, well, that's bad that you make that much money. And it's like, well, no, I did all the, like, this is, I did this. And so, so you did the first workshop last year, the summit. I remember seeing that, and it went well. You had crazy, like, attendance, like,
dude, it was the biggest workshop in the world by a long shot. Like, yeah, we smashed the records. I think WPPI or something, I had a look at that, and that was like, you know, that's like the biggest workshop in the world of like 4,000 people conference or something. And like we doubled that. And there's never been, and when I say workshops, because it wasn't just like a free lead gen, it's like to get 8,000 people to buy a ticket from you. That is, man, there's not many marketers out there that can make that happen in a niche market like this. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was like a big feat.
And so that's like, you're a world record holder. You know, you've got the record
in my own mind.
Like, it counts. It's between you and me. It's all matters.
Yeah, exactly.
I have my own world records that are just for me. But so you do this last year in the middle of a pandemic, and then now we're fast forwarding. You've got your business map. You're selling. You know, you're building this community of people that are getting helped and growing, and you're coaching and you're mentoring and you're growing, and you're standing on, you know, the things you did the year before, the things from you're able to do more and more. Fast forward to this year, I start seeing ads again for it, and I'm like, wait, who's that on hold up, he's got Gary Vaynerchuk on there? Like, that's what in the so I mean, this guy, like, this is a legit, like, I see it from my point of view, and it's like, well, this Jai Long guy, he's got to figure it out. Like, he's done it. He's like, I don't know where you go from that, but like, so how did this year, like, compared to last year, like, how did it fare for you?
This one cost us money. It didn't make us money. So the last one actually made us money. So that's funny. We made a few mistakes because the thing is, the first one I could replicate that and I could just do it again and I could make money. But because I'm never doing it for that reason, I need to push and do something. I need to be uncomfortable. We had to sort of push and do something different. And for me, having someone like Gary Vee talk was just like, you know what? Because we had a bit of a laugh about it and we were like, yeah, that would never happen. Not in the wedding photography space. This was after the last summit. Then I was like, whose rules are those? And why can't I do something like that? And then why isn't anyone playing big? Like, why do I try and compete, like put the bar against other educators and stuff? And I'm like, man, I don't have to hold myself back. You know, I can go as big as I want and do whatever I want. So I think that freedom was just like, you know, who cares? Let's just cut the ties and just go after whatever we want to do. And that's literally what that was about. And the reason why I actually halved the price of like VIP this year and then got someone big like that is because I needed it to be so uncomfortable for me that like if we didn't get the numbers, we wouldn't make the money back. But if I didn't do that, I just wouldn't feel right as an entrepreneur because I don't want to replicate my success. I want to find new success and new things. It's just like we were saying before. It's like you keep swinging that same bat. It's like, man, after a while, like your arms are just going to get sore. So try a new game, do something different. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And you said it earlier about like, and I've had a hard time putting this into words, but like for me, it's so creative to be a business owner. And you were talking about like the creativity that goes behind that. And that's exactly how I'm wired, as like just a serial entrepreneur that never stops or never wants. Like, I'm not just like, okay, cool, I made six figures, I got to stop. I'm good, I'm happy. It's just like, no, it doesn't. At a certain point, it's like the money's great and stuff, but like it's more so about what can we do that we've never done before? How can we do something creative?
Here's a good example, because people don't understand this concept either. But imagine being a videographer or being a photographer, going to your first wedding, you shot it, you nailed it, great. And then you just replicated that forever, never changed anything, never used a new light, never used a new lens, new angle, new second shooter. Like you never just did anything different, right? No new locations. It's like, it's uneventful. Like there's just, you already know what's going to happen, man. Like you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to go shoot the thing. It's going to be great. You're going to get a great review. Done. Like there's no fulfillment in that. And I think for business, it's just the same. Like if you want to be creatively fulfilled, it's like, don't just replicate the same stuff you did yesterday because you already did that yesterday. It's time to do something new. Move on. Do something bigger, something better, something different. Might not work. Who cares?
Yeah, I love that. And the fact that you said, you know, this year you didn't make money off of the event, the summit that you did. One thing that's like, it's very obvious to me though, that like this event and pulling it off, even if it cost you money, is going to make you so much money and make you so much more like doors being open. And it's like, well, yeah, we had Gary Vee on last year and we had, you know, these photographers and these people. And it's like, just the doors that it opens up for you, even if, again, that swing was like a loss on the money sheet, it's not, you know, and that's
here's
what
the
most
thing,
people
man.
don't get.
Like, well, if I didn't do it and I didn't lose that money, I already knew what was going to happen, which was nothing. And so taking that swing and actually putting on this event, even though I knew that it's probably going to cost us money, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. And I think that's where you need to be all the time, you know, because I don't know what doors are going to open. I don't know who's going to reach out to me. I don't know what opportunities that I have for myself in the future. I have no idea. But if I don't set myself up now, I already know what's going to happen. Nothing.
Yeah, I love that. And if people could just catch a glimpse of that with their businesses and stop trying to replicate, you know, that videographer or photographer that you love, but like just pushing yourself with your creativity, pushing yourself in your business, getting uncomfortable, raising your prices to where you feel uncomfortable, going and booking that trip to that place and then figuring out someone to shoot for while you're there or whatever it is that's in your heart. But the difference between people that are like getting stuff done on this planet and people that just kind of exist is that mindset, is that relentlessness. And that's not for everybody. I'm not saying that if you're not getting something done as a business owner that you're not like a worthy human, but as business owners, if you're just cool with the same venue and the same look and the same thing again and again and again, you're going to burn out. You're going to get tired. You're going to lose that hope and that fun, that excitement. in your
passion.
business. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, man. So you asked about my courses before, and I've got like one main course called the Six Figure Business Map, and so I've got a link to it, maybe in your show notes. I don't know where,
Yep,
but if
that's
you
where it'll
sign up
be.
to the
Yep.
wait list and just have a bit of a look, you'll get a free pricing calculator, which just helps people like working out how much they need to charge per client and just sort of like that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, it's basically a group coaching program. I didn't want to do a passive course with passive income and get people passive results, because you can see me, man, that I'm just not happy with that. So it's a group coaching call. So every 2 weeks I jump on personally and, answer everyone's questions. They submit in their questions. Then they got the course there. So the course is all going. I send out workbooks, all that kind of stuff. So it's a full thing, man. And the reason why I think, like, I don't know this for sure, but going back to the world records, like my course has to be one of the biggest courses like this going around. We have about 650 people doing it right now. And it's, the results that people are getting, man, I've just never seen it anywhere else. And it's because like, not only do I show up, I've also got a coach in there, the full time that shows up, and then the community shows up for everybody. And I think everyone's, just gets vulnerable. They share. It's full of videographers, photographers. We even people are sneaking in that are like designers and stuff, because it's just about business. Mm-hmm. It's not about photography. It's not about videography. It's about creative business. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And we'll post that in the link for sure and everything. Just we want people to find you. If they want to find you on Instagram or any other platforms, where's the best place for them to find you?
Guys, come over to jailong.co. Send me a DM. If you like this episode, definitely tag both of us. Take a screenshot, tag both of us. We'd love to see it and say hi, because I don't know about you, John, but I love talking to everyone. And if anyone's ever got any questions, just get in there. I respond to everyone.
Yeah, I reached out to you via Instagram a few months back in the middle of you planning this thing, and you got back with me that day. And, you have a big number next to your name of people that follow you, and you still just keep putting in that work. And that's, always so refreshing when people are about not just something passive, but they want to be. And I keep seeing your number of students growing in your business map, and like this, it's so cool. And you deserve all of the success that you've had from this. I'm so pumped about your real estate stuff that you're doing, your clothing brand. I can't wait to try on some of that stuff and look almost half as cool as you. But I seriously do appreciate your time. We will link everything in the show notes. Any parting words? Anything you want to add before we sign off here today?
Yeah, I think two things. Like, thank you for taking the time to listen to John and myself. So this is to the audience. But the one thing I wanted to touch on that you talked about a little bit earlier was we're talking about limiting beliefs. And a lot of the times, and I think this is the biggest shame in probably all of society, is we take on other people's limiting beliefs as our own. So they're not even our own beliefs, they're someone else's. When someone tells you you can't do something, you shouldn't do, you don't know how, you can't afford, like things like that, and you take that on as if it's your own word, I think you need to reassess who you listen to and what you allow into your universe. You probably could change things up. So if someone tells you that it can't be done because of whatever reason, like, man, you need to get into a new room. So that's the only thing I want to say.
That's huge. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know the How to Film Weddings family appreciates it, and we really just wish you nothing but success in the future.
Thanks, man. Talk to you soon.
All right. Are you looking for a better way to deliver your wedding films to your couples? Look no further. Our friends over at Wedflow provide the most flexible video delivery solution on the market. Wedflow is pay per project with no large upfront cost or commitment, and you can cancel anytime. Not only that, Wedflow offers a premium viewing experience for your couples, accessible on mobile, tablet, desktop, as well as their very own suite of TV apps. Each project comes with 10 years hosting and an experience for your clients that will blow them away. Stop delivering your films the old-fashioned way and give your couples something to rave about. Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/Wedflow to check out Wedflow today.